Some part of you feels that. Yes, I still feel like I have something to do or didn't do anything, or even the Bond issue. James Brolin has always been strong on screen and off, but something personal has shattered him. Fans are devastated by his wife's diagnosis and wondering how they will cope. This moment is straining their unbreakable tie after years of being one of Hollywood's most lasting love stories. What led them to this emotional crossroads? Find out why James Brolin is leaving after his wife's devastating illness. Behind the lights, James Brolin has moved seamlessly between Hollywood productions and red carpets for decades. Medical bills now plague him and Barbra Streisand at home. He's juggling his health and his wife's treatment bills. She is fighting her own health issues and saving her energy for what matters. Others who have worked with James see his slight shift in priorities. Fewer acting projects. Public appearances are rare. He prioritizes home and presence. Before exploring this point in his life, let's step back. James Brolin's biography goes beyond his marriage to a famous actor. It's about the youngster he was, the challenges he overcome, and the transition that made him a man confronting one of life's hardest chapters. He knew what it was like to gasp for air and feel different before fame and fortune. His journey began here. James Brolin was born Craig Kenneth Brolin in Westwood, Los Angeles, on July 18, 1940. His father, Henry Brolin, was a disciplined building contractor. Henry's work ethic influenced young Craig, but his employment hours limited his time at home. Mother Helen Sue ran the household with dedication. She lay aside her dreams to raise her family. Unspoken sacrifices reminded me that life pushed choices before I was ready. Craig had a difficult childhood. His acute asthma kept him from sports and careful of playground dust. He spent hours indoors wheezing and waiting for his chest to loosen while other lads sprinted across fields or climbed trees. Isolation was terrifying, yet it sparked a new curiosity. He built elaborate model airplanes to study part fit. He was drawn to films for their mechanics as much as their storylines. Like the actors, the cameras, angles, and light told the story. That curiosity developed. He acquired a few filmmaking instruments from relatives and secondhand shops by the time he was a teenager. These became his playground. To practice framing and lighting, he would get friends to act out situations. School was like another universe. Craig appeared hesitant, almost distant, and wary of attention. Something changed when he entered Santa Monica City College. He felt inspired by ambitious people. That spark grew when he joined UC Los Angeles' drama program. He learned there that acting wasn't simply about in front of an audience. Understanding people, their emotions, and making a story believable were key. Once a shadow, the boy was learning to shine. James Brolin started his career with a run of little roles, like many of his contemporaries. He took any job, including walk-on roles in Bus Stop in the early 1960s. The salary and exposure were low, but every set was a classroom. Every part, however brief, taught camera presence and timing. It wasn't glamorous. He got additional rejections and callbacks, and he spent weeks wondering if he'd made the wrong choice. Rent and groceries fought with acting classes for his limited funds, and quitting sometimes seemed like the best option. He found his calling in 1969 when he played Dr. Stephen Kiley in Marcus Welby, MD, a young, idealistic doctor with compassion and skill. Critics saw how viewers instinctively bonded with him. Brolin won 1 Emmy and 2 Golden Globes during the show's 7 years. An actor who was close to quitting used this as a launchpad. Fame opened doors. He led high-profile projects in the 1970s. As general manager of a large San Francisco hotel, he exuded elegance and authority. He starred alongside Yul Brynner in Westworld, a science fiction novel that became an HBO series. He led Capricorn 1, a suspenseful conspiracy thriller about a phony Mars landing, and the Amityville Horror, a classic horror film. Each part demonstrated his versatility, ranging from drama to action to mystery. Brolin's curiosity went beyond acting. Eventually, he directed and produced, learning storytelling from the other side of the camera. That transition allowed him to manage his initiatives and mentor young talent, which he took seriously following his early setbacks. Interestingly, his relevance lasted. In the 2000s and 2010s, Brolin's comedic timing on Life in Pieces and voice work in Pixar's Lightyear introduced him to new audiences. Hollywood longevity is rare, yet his career has spanned over 60 years, each chapter deepening his public image. As time went on, James Brolin's biography became more about his life away from the cameras than his job. What brought him to Barbra Streisand? Passion and purpose. Barbra Joan Streisand was born in Brooklyn, New York, on April 24, 1942. during World War II. Her early childhood was defined by a loss that would shape her emotions forever. At 15 months old, her father, Emanuel Streisand, died suddenly from seizures. As a respected high school teacher who valued education and culture, his absence left more than a void at the dinner table. Her mother Diana became a single parent suddenly, leaving Barbara with a lifelong wound that drove her want connection and affirmation in her art. She transformed from grief. Practicality helped survive, yet softness suffered. Diana's realistic, businesslike approach to life kept the family afloat, but Barbara craved love. Diana could be harsh and unsupportive, focusing on shortcomings rather than successes. That relationship would remain strained as Barbara gained stardom her mother never dreamed. Diana remarried while Barbara was young. Her stepfather, Louis Kind, joined the family, although it was difficult. Their relationship lacked true affection and sometimes caused more stress than comfort. Barbara didn't always feel safe at home. She often used music and make-believe to escape the tensions behind closed doors. Family finances were meager. The daily grind of making ends meet was all there was. Few luxuries were allowed, and clothes were worn until they frayed. This upbringing gave Barbara a need to prove herself and a sensation of being on the outside during her teens. She was self-conscious and motivated because she knew her differences, her voice, looks, and ambitions. She found comfort in music early on. As a child, she imitated vocalists she adored, pushing her vocal range. Without any instruction, she absorbed the wording, emotion, and technical control. By her teens, she had a distinct, expressive, and unique tone. Her voice wasn't her sole asset as a performer. Her presence and intensity made it impossible to turn away when she sang. She wasn't popular in school. Despite her social outcast status, she carried herself with destiny. Her distinctive, raw, and magnetic qualities were noticed by friends and teachers. Barbara made up for her low social status with ambition. She envisioned Broadway, a picture where she would be seen for who she was, not what she lacked. Early loss, challenging family problems, and humble beginnings created a harsh but sensitive mentality. Her early circumstances taught her to battle for every opportunity in her job and relationships. James Brolin, who met her decades later, saw that beneath the global superstar was a Brooklyn girl who had grown up longing to belong. Before meeting, Barbara's ascent to the top was equally impressive. What made a Brooklyn girl with no business contacts or money become one of the world's most famous voices? The career of Barbara shot into space. Her desire to leave Brooklyn's small streets was clear by teenagehood, so she entered talent contests across New York in plain clothes without any style. The room went quiet when she sang. She had an unusual talent for making a boisterous nightclub cozy. Her rich, passionate, and unpredictable voice made every performance unique. Her early gigs were in small bars and cabarets, where regulars, music enthusiasts, and interested passers-by had heard of a young woman who could halt you in your tracks. Industry professionals noticed quickly. Casting directors and producers were drawn to a voice that could sing ballads and brassy showstoppers. She broke through in 1962 with her Broadway debut in I Can Get It For You, Wholesale. Although she was only 19, her performance as Miss Marmelstein, a quirky and sharp-witted secretary, stole the show. Audiences couldn't get enough, and critics took notice of the newcomer who could command the stage without becoming a Broadway beauty. Her wit, vulnerability, and voice made her unmistakable. Funny Girl followed. Barbara played Fanny Brice so well on stage in 1964 and in the 1968 film that it was hard to tell them apart. She immortalized Fanny's comedic timing and emotional depth in songs like People and Don't Rain on My Parade. She became a Hollywood icon after winning the Academy Award for Best Actress for the film. Barbara then seamlessly transitioned between music and movies, a feat few performers have achieved. Her films won Oscars, Golden Globes, and critical accolades, while her records topped the charts and earned her Grammy Awards. She didn't want to just perform. She influenced set design, costume design, and later directed and produced her own productions. Her perfectionism was cemented here. She was demanding, but never without reason, according to colleagues. She was steadfast in her vision and refused to compromise. Her career outlasted many of her peers due to her creative independence, unique for Hollywood women at the time. Barbara was a star and institution by the late 1990s when she met James Brolin. Drive, reinvention, and absolute perfection defined her existence. Despite her public success, her personal life was less certain. Keep watching. Yes, more. A devoted bond. James Brolin and Barbra Streisand met in 1996, neither at a Hollywood event or on a film shoot. Mutual friends set up the blind date. Both were successful, had been married, and doubted setups. James arrived and eased any reluctance. Barbara later said she was immediately drawn to his grounded warmth. Her wit and candor impressed James too. A seemingly unpleasant evening turned into an hour-long discussion. That night showed them that they shared profound beliefs despite their diverse backgrounds. Both were dedicated to their craft, guarded their privacy, and valued hard work over shortcuts. From there, their romance progressed slowly for two celebrities. They slowly integrated their lives, ensure their construction was real and sustainable. Friends said James gave Barbara stability while she encouraged him to try new things and be creative. After 2 years, they married in a small ceremony at Barbara's Malibu mansion on July 1, 1998. Instead of industry elites, close friends and family attended the wedding. Their commitment was the focus, not spectacle. Barbara walked down the aisle beaming, while James, famed for his composure, couldn't hide his excitement. The union was based on trust and affection, not Hollywood gossip. Life together was difficult. Finding balance between public and private life was difficult for both with demanding occupations. James worked in cinema and television, including long-running roles that kept him occupied for months, while Barbara performed, recorded, and directed. They survived by retreating to their house to refuel between projects. Friends described their residence as a peaceful place with laughter, wonderful food, and occasional political or artistic debates. Their marriage was defined by mutual support. James helped Barbara recover from vocal strain and other health issues by resting, reducing stress, and adopting moderate lifestyle changes. James faced personal and professional challenges. Later in life, Barbara encouraged. He relied on her for advice, criticism, and support when the world appeared uncaring. They maintained an unusual partnership throughout. They cared about each other's development. They still spoke well of each other after decades. Barbara was driven and talented, according to James. She credited him with calming her enough to slow down. However, life presented fresh obstacles that tested even the greatest bonds over time. James Brolin and Barbara Streisand were unusual in an industry where partnerships generally fail due to public exposure. They did not continually make headlines or feed the media, skillfully prepared views of their life. Their approach sounded almost old-fashioned, based on the assumption that marriage should be a shelter from Hollywood noise. They acquired unforgeable respect for their dedication. Fans and peers often cited them as proof that love could exist in showbiz. James and Barbara seemed to avoid conflicting schedules, competing egos, and the temptations of continual attention, unlike many celebrity couples. Tabloids, notoriously merciless, rarely had real scandals. While writers speculated on professional changes and fashion choices, their relationship remained private. The absence of scandal became part of their legacy and a statement. They had detractors. Barbara was sometimes portrayed unflatteringly due to her perfectionism. James sometimes felt like Mr. Streisand in relation to her celebrity. However, neither seemed eager to let public opinion govern their relationship. They shone unity at industry events. The subtle motions between them spoke volumes without words. Their influence went beyond theater and film. After meeting, they amplified their long-standing charity, touching innumerable lives. They supported medical research and environmental protection, arts and social justice programs. James regularly joined Barbara at charity galas or helped coordinate fundraising for gender equality and health. Barbara regularly spoke, held a platform, or supported James's veterans and community efforts. Their legacy as a pair is as much about their relationship as their accomplishments. Hollywood power couples are generally associated with red carpet appearances, net worth, or professional partnerships. James and Barbara completely changed that idea. They found power in stability, trust, and the ability to use their influence for good. It came from enduring personal hardships without revealing details and appreciating successes secretly before sharing them. Also, their story has an unusual consistency. They maintain their early relationship traits decades later. They have handled public life gracefully due to those traits. As they face their most difficult chapter, the public still admires their fortitude. Due to decades of worry and affection, fans follow closely. Individuals who have followed them through their jobs, marriages, and personal milestones see this current battle as a human challenge faced by two individuals they care about. Rarely does a celebrity pair inspire both business and audience. However, James and Barbara did that. Their story shows that love can persist in a business notorious for short partnerships and that a life based on shared ideals is strong. Fame wasn't their foundation. Fame was a coincidence. Personal bonding away from cameras was the foundation. As James supports Barbara during her health battle, the idea of them still hand in hand after all these years has weight beyond Hollywood legend. It reflects their lifelong truth. The role they play in one other's life is their greatest. Outro. You think? Does James Brolin and Barbara Streisand's longtime relationship indicate love can outlast fame? Comment your ideas below. We want to hear them. Like, share, and subscribe for more. Additionally, click the video below. You'll like